So the file .1b contains our first true mission, Kerbalik I. Kerbalik I has a main objective of a successful launch and reaching 5,000 meters of altitude. The secondary objective of Kerbalik I contain maximum savings that equals to no damage done to the actual vessel, and efficiency tests which are related to fuel consumption. We need to find a way how to make sure that we do not burn more fuel than is absolutely necessary. Because in the long run, if we are successful in the type of missions that I have in mind, the fuel and other expendable resources will be the most, or will encompass the biggest loss that we have, unless a rocket gets destroyed. So that is very important, to figure out a better way how to control our vessels, to have the efficiency at maximum. Now the mission plan for Kerbalik I is as follows. We will launch a vessel at half power, seeing how fast it goes. We will cut the throttle after 4,000 meters, then have a controlled ascent, and after we reach the 5,000 meters, we will commence a free fall, which will be changed into a controlled descent under 1,000 meters of altitude. Project budget is just 10,000 Kerbal hours. We have no money in reserve, so we have just the 10,000 bucks that we started with. So let's look at the design of the craft. So the Kerbalik I will use a pretty simple design. We'll have a crew module up on the top with a single fuel tank below and a single liquid fuel engine below. Now, this simplicity comes from the fact that we actually have nothing more complicated that we could attach onto our vessel. Now, I'm going to put the parachute on the top because that is extremely important if we don't want to break our rocket. And I'll also put on the communitron. Let's have it like this, so that we can send back certain reports. Now, the crew member that's going to be flying this will be Jebediah, our pilot, and his task is to get, as mentioned, to 5,000 meters. So I'm going to save this craft as Kerbalik I, and hopefully we can launch it in safety, you know. Hopefully there's nothing can go wrong. Now, one thing that I would like to check though is the cost of these two things. So the solid booster costs 325 bucks, while the engine alone costs 850. And the fuel tank costs 425. So using the fuel boosters seems like a way better thing to do eventually. The problem though there, of course, is that it cannot shut down, so we don't have to burn it entirely. And the second thing is that it could damage our vessel, because this little parachute doesn't have enough speed, we've already seen that, or enough power to decrease the speed of the rocket enough so it wouldn't break on landing. So despite the fact that the rocket this way would cost 2,897 and using the fuel booster would only cost about half, I'm still choosing to go with this one because we do not risk a complete destruction of the vessel and death of our Kerbonaut. So we are now on the launch, I wanted to call this a launch pad, but on our launch dirt, and it's time to launch our first spacecraft, or Kerbalik I. Now, taking a crew report now has absolutely no scientific value, so I'm gonna refrain from that, and I'm just gonna fix these stages because for some reason I forgot during the descent phase. See? You know, double checking everything, because if you don't, you can die, and dying is bad. So I'm gonna turn off the SAS, not the RCS, because we don't have RCS, and we can just fly up to the sky. Now remember, we are going to some 4,000 meters, and then we'll cut the throttle and just coast to 5,000. For that, the map will be a very useful helper, because it's going to show us what our estimated apoapsis is. So yeah, with that said, we can launch this vessel, and boy do I feel nervous for some reason. I don't really know why. So let's go. Okay, so we are gaining a lot of speed, so I can actually turn it down a bit. I don't want it to go that fast, because our apoapsis is now at already 2,000 meters. What is it now? 2,800, 3,000, while our surface speed about 124. So we can, in my opinion, cut the engines now, and well, actually no, we can still coast up a bit. Yes, we are at about 5,000 now. So let's take a crew report here. It has 0.4 science value, and we just passed the 5,000 mark, which makes it so that we have fulfilled our mission. We overshot by 250 meters though, which is not that bad though. The control could be way worse. So let's just continue going down. And yeah, we got 0.4 science from this, guaranteed. That is awesome. And we're falling back down. There isn't really a huge change. No, we're falling almost exactly where we took off. So at about 1,000 meters, I'm gonna release the parachute, which is about now. And we have got down to some 11.8 meters per second. So let's transmit that crew report. I'd like to get it out. Review report and transmit. We need to test that. And can we get another one? Nope, that's all there is to it. Now as we're coasting down, you can see that the surface speed is still 11.4 meters, which is way too much. So we'll need to use the engine to slow down at least a bit. Now, as we need to get some 4,000 meters per second, I'm gonna start the deceleration burn at about 100 meters above the surface. We don't really need it anywhere higher than that. Okay, we're almost down. Now, we need to get it to about 3 meters. Oh, actually it could be more. But there! We have successfully landed! And we got even some more science from that. So let's recover the vessel and see how we are doing now. So we got back about 2,780 funds from recovered part, which puts us at total 10,800 Kerbal bucks, which is awesome. And we got 0.5 science, so we actually have 1.2 science now. That's pretty decent for not doing anything at all. So how much did the Kerbalik I cost us? Because it had, I don't know why it's not loaded, 2,897. So we burned about 110 bucks in fuel, which is not bad, which is not bad at all. So the net income is quite nice. Oh, and look at that, we have more missions here. Perform a visual survey of Kerbin, perform a visual survey of Kerbin at another point, and set altitude record of 11,000 meters. We can also test the Mark 16 parachute in flight over Kerbin, or test the TR-89 stag decoupler in flight over Kerbin. Now, the parachute actually costs us quite a... Oh, actually it doesn't cost anything, I think. And it's going to give us 2 prestige. Stack the copper though gives us 2 prestige as well, but look at those completion rewards, these are awful. What about the surveys? Yeah, the visual surveys gives quite a lot of cash. So these are, and they give prestige and science as well, so these might be good. Can we see here where... Oh god, these places are very far away. Look at that, one is Kerbin's Fault, and one is called Nellen's Trench. So we would have to... What's what is our... Does it have any specification? 19,100 meters and 18,900 meters. Above 19 meters near Kerbin's Fault. So we would have to have a... Well, preferably we could land there later on when we, for example, work on establishing orbit and stuff like that, because, or escaping the atmosphere and later on establishing orbit, because it would be relatively easy if we plan it correctly to have a diesel burn that could lead us there. So we'll see about that. But for now we are going to set the altitude record of 11,000 meters, and we are going to test the Mark 16 parachute in flight over Kerbin, which is going to be job for Kerbalik II. So the file 1C contains the Kerbalik II project, which is a second rocket of the Kerbalik kind. We are going to go after the main objective of reaching 11,000 meters and testing the Mark 16 parachute. Secondary objectives include as well maximum savings, which means no damage to the craft in speaking, and efficiency tests, which means saving fuel. You could see that the only cost that we eventually had at the last rocket was the cost of fuel, which is why the efficiency tests or efficiency of the launch is very important in a scenario like this. The mission plan for the Kerbalik II project is launching the vessel at full power, controlling the speed of ascent. We will test the backup parachute at 9,500 meters and then cutting the throttle. We will have a controlled ascent to 11,000 meters, which is the point we need to reach, after which we are going to allow a free fall and have a controlled descent under 1,000 meters. The project budget is 10,000 Kerbal dollars as well, because that's all we have in the Kerbalik project, and the reserve will be 0. Now, the aircraft in speaking will be slightly different from the one that we had before, but the project is approved and we will talk about the design in the actual assembly building. So the Kerbalik II project will take into consideration something that we will have to rely on quite heavily in these early stages, and that is multi-bodies or multi-rockets. Now, this is just a technical name, it probably has a better name, which I would like to hear, but we are going to use the Kerbalik I as a mainframe, and we will attach another 2 bodies or fuel tanks on its side, which will actually though create entire bodies. I'm gonna put it slightly lower because that's what the ship will stand on. Now we're going to put 2 more engines down here, and then we're going to put the parachutes on all of these little tanks. Now when we set the staging, which is important, I shouldn't really forget about that, we're going to start all of the rockets at once, but at that 9,500 meters of altitude where we are going to test the Mark 16 parachute, we will launch just the backup parachute, which will be located in the center on this main body. Then, after we get to the final descent at 1000 meters, these two parachutes will be released and a controlled descent burst from all of these 3 engines will be in progress. That way we will ensure safe landing, no damage, and actually fill the project for the parachute, which is, yes, I understand, probably not worth as far as money go, but it is worth because it gives us some prestige, and prestige, remember, brings more projects. So Kerbalik II is now on the actual launch pad, ready to go up, and you can see the missions here loaded. We need to achieve an altitude of 11,000 meters, and we need to test the Mark 16 parachute in flight over Kerbin, which means that altitude between 3,900 meters? Yeah, 3,900 meters up to 12,200 meters. The speed should be set between 100 meters to 300 meters per second. So we should be able to do that somewhere high up around that 9,500 meters as was set in the original test. We will see if that actually works. But if it does, then that makes me happy. I don't want to test it before because, in my opinion, we need to cut the throttle before we test the actual parachute. Otherwise we break it, or it might get us into the stage where we will be going sideways, not up. So yeah, let's see if this works. And yeah, Jebediah is ready, so we can, I guess, just launch. Okay, so we are speeding up quite fast. So we look at the flight data. Yeah, look at that. We're at 200 already. That's way too much. So let's throttle down a bit because we don't want to waste too much fuel on this. Okay, we're at 4,000 meters now. What's our estimated apoapsis? Already 7,500. Okay, let's use this look now. Once it reaches about 11,500, I'm gonna cut the throttle slightly. Are we in the speed? Yes. Everything seems in order. Okay, I've cut the engine and we can now test the parachute. We did the test, cool. And we have just reached the parachute. Oh, actually, no, not the parachute. The required altitude. Now, yeah, we still overshot it by quite a lot. No, actually by 500 meters exactly. So, not bad for, you know, taking it out of my ass. Such an educated ass pool. So we are now going back down, hopefully saving a lot of fuel. We'll see how much we can gain from this. We had some 10,800 bucks, I believe, before we launched this mission. So anything above that will be nice. We did the test, which cost us probably nothing, because we had to get to the 11,000 meters anyway. But we could have done that way easier by just putting these tanks above each other and going up. Oh hey, the parachute actually went off already. I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, it has an altitude set 2,300 meters. So let's... Wow, it actually opened and without any trouble. Okay, so... let's open the other two parachutes then, which lowered our speeds to some 11.5 meters per second again. So we can go down here and see when the controlled burn will be used. Now this is basically what we will have to do all this time. We will have to carefully plan out our missions, stay ahead of time, just always increasing the amount of money we have, because more money means more projects, and more projects means more money. I hope we will be able to keep this trend going of earning money, because eventually we will have to identify places that are just not worth going to. Now Okay, we're at 200 meters mark. I'm gonna start the control burn below 100 meters. Okay, it wasn't below, but... Okay. Okay, well, that was a bad place to land. We nearly broke our little rocket there, but eventually everything worked out fine. Now So, I spoke about this in the last episode, and the game crashed. It was exactly as I foresaw it. I didn't have to revert flight or anything, but the flight just didn't took place. So here we are again at 11,000 meters, and I managed to coast to about 97. So 11,095 meter was our apoapsis, or 97. So this is a bit more efficient than the flight before. Now we are going down the same way as we were before. Hopefully it's going to land somewhere a bit different, because I don't know, somewhere a bit different, because I don't know what caused the crash. Something caused the game to crash. It said it was a resolution problem, which usually shows that the graphics kind of nerfed out on me. So the parachute opened. I'm gonna open 2 other parachutes as well. We can just go down. We can just go down and see how things are. Now again, the deceleration burn will be done below 100 or around 100 meters. That seems about the right time for it, because we don't slow down too much, don't waste any extra fuel, so I prefer that. But it's funny because, you know, I spoke about it in the last episode and then it suddenly crashes. And it was just a small flight too, you know. If this happened on the way to Moon and I couldn't revert and the flight was somewhere, you know, unrecoverable, or the game broke the aircraft or rocket, whatever we would be flying at the moment, then it would just call for a revert. Okay, anyway, we are down to 220 meters and we are preparing for the final burn. Can I turn a bit? Because I don't want to land sideways again. Okay, time for decel burn. Okay, 3 meters, 3.1 meters per second, that seems about right. Okay, please don't. Okay, okay, well, that worked. We landed right next to it. Perfect, perfect, perfect. We didn't took any crew report. Oh, crew report from Crawler away. Okay, let's keep that. It's a different thing, point to science. So yeah, this was Kerbalik II, I believe, and let's see what the outcome is. So yeah, we got 0.2 science from the Crawley report and 0.1 science from the recovery of the vessel. So basically 0.3 science, and we're up to 1.5 science. Hell yeah. And we're up to 11,161 funds. So we recovered basically 5,400, and let's see how much the Kerbalik II cost. Yeah, we burned about 250 bucks worth of fuel. Oh, actually, yeah, almost 300, which is not bad. It's basically half of each of these fuel tanks. So that mission made me happy. That mission made me really happy. So let's see what else we can do now. So we can test the solid booster, solid booster, and we have an altitude record of 22,000 meters. So I think we are going to take the altitude record of 22,000, and we're gonna go for fuel booster because that one should be okay. Landed at Kerbin. Okay, that's going to be easy. It's just going to take us up. So cool. We are going to turn to Kerbolic free project now. So stay tuned.